almost forgot my microphone. I had to reach all the way across, grabbing microphone. Voice of an angel, not me. Michael Levy Jr. To my right or left. Can't work it out at the moment. How are you, mate?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Your voice has improved. You had some voice troubles last week.
Yeah, do you know, it's just I think if I get enough sleep and enough hydration, drink enough water, and I'm relaxed, my voice is all right. I can hit all sorts of notes. As soon as I have I'm sleep deprived or I've had stress, I had a stressful day yesterday, I told you, I went on stage sort of tight, and then sometimes if audiences are a bit difficult, it can make you tighten up a little bit more. But fortunately yesterday, the first audience were really appreciative, and then I sort of opened up and relaxed. But yeah, every day in the daytime, my voice is a bit raspy like this. It's like my voice doesn't come to life until about 9 o'clock. It's like muscle memory.
Well,
Yeah,
we appreciate you talking to us today. Well, before we get started, I've got some breaking news. Actually, some breaking West Ham news. I'll get your opinion on that. What does a dodgy audience look like? How does that manifest itself when you're singing?
I just think, especially since COVID, right? I think everything's got more expensive in the world. So I think people want their holidays and they like their holidays. But I think some people resent how much they've spent to be here, or they're unable to unshackle themselves from their stresses of life and work. Whereas if I'm on holiday, everything's brilliant because I'm away from work and I'm away from life and bills, and I'm celebrating and getting into it. Some people are still like that, but I feel like there's a sense of entitlement with a lot of people now. And so whereas people used to come in with an open mind, they know where they're coming to. They're coming to a soul and Motown venue to listen to me sing soul and Motown. But a lot of people start like that, like, go on and entertain me. I won't clap until you've won me over. Sometimes you speak to an audience and say, good evening, blah, 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 chat to them. Any soul and Motown fans in, any requests? And they refuse to talk. And sometimes it's like a mob mentality. The more you try to chip away at them, sometimes you make a joke and then they realize that they're being standoffish and they loosen up. But sometimes it's like you almost see the whole audience double down on it. Like, we're not going to clap, we're not going to join in. And it all becomes like a grey cloud. And then you feel like it starts to, as long as I've done this, it starts to get in your head. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I do know. I know exactly. No, I'm not talking about you lot. I'm not talking about you YouTubers. I'm not talking about you lot. You're very nice. No, I do know what you mean from back in the day, many moons ago. Well, I'm sure you win them over anyway. I know you do. Talking about supporters sat down with their arms crossed and refusing to budge from their seats. That's quite a nice segue into protests, which they've got a sit down protest after Newcastle. I think we'll talk primarily about Newcastle in this one. What are your thoughts on that? How do you think that's going to go? I've got to be honest with you. I think the TV cameras will have gone by then. So I think it's really important that people film that on their phones and put it on social media. I think that's how it's going to get the traction, because I think that'll be. I've been in ground. Everyone's been in the grounds, and you wait around for a little bit, and almost as soon as the match is over, they start unplugging the cameras, don't they?
Yeah. So you're right. I think we've got to generate our own distribution, filming and distribution amongst the fans to get the message out there. I think the Brentford boycott was more for the attention of the media. And I must say, as great as the efforts were and everyone involved, I do feel like it missed the mark a little bit, because it didn't look, at least on the TV, it didn't look shockingly sparse, did it? I think maybe the way I don't know if they dimmed the lights on the upper tier or just the sections that they panned around. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it was, like, I'd been at a Conor Ben fight, like, I think it was about his 7th fight, Mike Cole, he fought, and it was at the O2, and the main card, the headline fight was Frank Berglione. So it wasn't a massive event like an Anthony Joshua thing, but it was you could see that the stadium was pretty empty for the O2. But when I went home and watched it, it looked like it was full because of how they filmed it. Do you know what I mean? Having stood there and seen what happened.
Have you seen the seats that they've done by turning the seats, Clara? Have you seen optically how that has made a difference? You've seen it.
It does make a difference. But I think in terms of the Brentford thing, I think that the boycott, I think the white seats would have done us a favour. And I didn't feel like it came across like really shocking. So this one is not going to get the media's attention. You're right when you say what you say. We're going to have to garner the interest out of it. I think the other important thing to mention about it is people are talking about this like this is an alternative to, oh, you know, I don't think we should do that again, boycotting. And now we've changed to this. It's not that. There always was a plan to do a different thing for every home game. So it was only one boycott that Hammers United and Crossed Hammers and other people are asking fans to do. We've now got the sit-in at Newcastle. That's right, the sit-in at Newcastle. And then at Burnley, they've got the walk up to the gates and handing in the petition. So, yeah, the Gonzo's holding up, demonstrating beautifully there, my beautiful assistant.
Thank you. I mean, it is a tough one, and I think if they had their time again, there's no way it was. These things have to be planned massively in advance. They have to be planned with police. Metropolitan Police have to give their permission. I mean, it's a tiny little bit of news that might have escaped everybody, but every club has a police officer assigned to them. And West Ham's one's a guy called Andy Sheldon. He was just in the process of stepping back as well. So I think that also made it hard. Now, there's no way anybody was to know that was going to be Nuno's first home game. And the truth of the matter is, there's no way they would have done that had they have known. But these things get made up in advance. It's just unfortunate timing. So a lot of the media were saying, you shouldn't be doing this on Nuno's first game. But I've got to say, having seen at close quarters what happens when a protest is called off last minute, you can't do that either, because people spend a lot of money and make it. Absolutely. So I think the other thing in terms of how it looked, I think maybe the optics of that and it not looking as shockingly empty as it might usually have done was the victim of the fact that we're used to seeing it. We are used to seeing that stadium 3/4 full, by association, a quarter empty. There's 66,000. You can see there's very, very rarely 66,000 in there. And I think particularly you often see it at half time as well. It's very hard. I think I'm not saying it's any different at any other football ground, but it's so cavernous and the steps are so big, and it's such a, because it's so big, the footprint of it is a huge. That is a 95,000 seater stadium. There's not 95,000 seats in it anymore, but there's a 95,000 seat stadium around a track. That's what it was for the Olympics. So it takes a long time to get anywhere. So by the time you've had a Jimmy Riddle, and by the time you've got a pint, probably drank that and need another Jimmy Riddle, you can't do that in 15 minutes. I think we're used to seeing it sparse, and I think there's a lot of times the football's been so crap in there, and just people. I think a lot of the times there's 50,000 fans in there, maybe something like that. And so you often see the white seats. I think maybe the fact that there might have been 43,000 in there for Brentford, it's not like we're used to seeing 66 packed in. It wasn't that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and another thing we're used to seeing is a fear of mine with this particular protest. It's if we go 3 or 4-0 down, the place will empty out, right? Yeah. And it's you're caught in between a rock and a hard place, because I understand at the moment. I mean, I've never left a game early, just personal choice. But some people do. I totally understand. Some people have got a long way to travel. Some people don't want to get caught up in the stop and go sign. Some people have got to get last trains home. I totally understand it. But I think a lot of the time, take the Arsenal game, the 6-0 loss against Arsenal season or two ago, it was a mass exodus, you know, and a lot of people are going to feel like doing that because they sort of want to vote with their feet and show that they're dissatisfied with it. But then I would argue that the other way of showing that dissatisfaction would be to stick it out to the bitter end and get involved in the sitting and make your point. But I do worry that we will lose a little bit of boots on the ground if people decide to throw the cards in and get out of there if we're getting a pasting.
Yeah, what I would suggest is it doesn't actually need to be that many sitting in. So I think you get the same statement, right? And I'm not suggesting nobody goes and does it. I think if you got, let's say you got 3,000 people sitting in, I think that makes the same statement as 2,500 people sitting in. I think the storyline is West Ham fans have made a protest and they're refusing to leave. They're refusing to leave the stadium because it creates an interesting dynamic, because the marshals, the stewards, they can't manhandle people. They're just not allowed to, and nor should they. And they're not paid enough to do that type of stuff, and rightly so. Anyway, so I think there is a statement there. I hope one of the big newspapers or somebody covers it, and I think there's a picture there of everybody sat down and I think everybody congregating together. Yeah, I think numbers aren't as important. I think the moment you get a couple of thousand people refusing to leave, you've made your statement. You've got your story. It just needs to be reported. Then,
and let's hope they're vocal as well, because if you get that couple of thousand people that are the same sort of couple of thousand at hardcore that go to the away games and make a racket,
yeah,
let's hope they can get some of the songs going, even if it's anti-ball songs, or even if it's in good spirits, even if it's just. Really making
do the Frank Lampard song. That takes about an hour. They'd be there forever, wouldn't they?
All the way down.
They just if they take it to 100 men couldn't carry.
That's it. Yeah, do it all the way down.
If you have the old voice thing, then wouldn't you?
That's it, yeah.
50 men couldn't carry Lampard. Anyway, what we're talking about here. Did you Preston Fearon? He signed a new contract.
I didn't see that. The last news I saw was the Mamadou Kante signing a 6 year. I'd not been privy to the Fearon one.
Yeah, well, he had 31. Crikey, can you imagine that would be a punishment? you got to play for West Ham for 106 years. Oh no, I can't do that. 2031. Preston Fearon's 2028. I'm guessing that because he's holding up a shirt that says 20.
That'll be 1,000 years, Gonzo, though, wouldn't it?
It would be 1,000
31. It's even worse than you thought.
1,006 years. You're right.
Flying cars.
Look, we've been hearing about the flying cars for ages. To be fair,
in post.
My daughter said it to me. The other day. Oh, my teacher said, when we were out, I said flying cars. I went, hold on, I'm 51 and my teachers used to say that to me. There's no flying cars because I've come to the conclusion that they already exist. They're just called helicopters. So the cars go on the ground and that's fine. I just don't think you need to. It's sort of like a car that becomes a boat. If you got the money, you're just going to have a car and a boat, aren't you? And I think that's that. You go and park at the yacht club and get in your boat. That's because everyone knows that's how you sail a boat. Yeah.
Have you bought your new boat yet? Have you got your yacht yet? Have you got that yet? Did you buy your yacht?
Not yet.
On totally unrelated subject. Sign up to Patreon, everybody.
No. Never mind about Patreon. Well, do sign up to Patreon. While I've got you here, do you want some free beer? Anyone want some free beer? Michael can't have it because he's in the Canary Islands. But if you're in the UK and if you're over 18 and you want some free beer, we got it for you. We've got eight. Well, it's not 8 in here anymore. We've got loads of beers in here. This is from a company, basically, as you can probably see from the box, Beer 52. Beer 52 have partnered up with Hammers Chat to give you free beer. What they do is they go around the world every month and they basically find craft beers. That's from a brewery called the Northern Monk, which makes some lovely, lovely beers. I've had a lovely a citrus IPA. There's some beautiful different IPAs. There's some blonde beers, some lovely ones, some darker ales if you prefer that. If you don't like dark ale, then you can specify when you go on the website. Basically, all you got to do is pay the postage, which is $5.95. Use the link in the description below. Or go to, this is www.beer52.com/hammers. Pay $5.95 for the postage. I send you a box of 8 beers, some snacks, and a magazine. Craft beers, can't get this stuff. It's really, really nice stuff. Can't get this stuff in the supermarket, by the way. Who doesn't like free beer? Sounds like your audience could do with a bit of free beer. But yeah, anyway, get signed up. Go and have a go. It's really, really nice. And as I say, check out the website. If you don't like, I'm not a great fan of dark ales. I'm probably going to give the 2 darker ones, they're a bit stouty. I think I'd imagine. I'm going to give them to my old man.
You can choose to have light beers in the box, can't you? You can choose.
Absolutely, yes. When you go onto the website, you can say, do you want mixed beers? Do you want light beers? Dark beers? Yes. So yes, you can just have light beers if you want. So look, it's really, really, really tasty beer. Lovely, lovely beer. That one I had when I drank it on a video the other day. That was 4%. That was 4%. Yeah, that was the Citra. Yes, Citra IPA. This one on is 7.9%. One of these dark ones, 7.9%. I'll give that to the old man. I won't tell him. His eyes are worse than mine. Anyway, there you go. Beer 52. Go and claim your beer. Go and claim your free beer. Have a drink on us. Where were we? Yes, so Preston Fearon. Have you seen these guys play, Kante and Fearon? You see them play in midfield much in the
Yeah,
under 21s? What do
yeah,
you
I
make of
have.
them
Yeah,
lot?
yeah. Well, look, I mean, Kante looks like a physically. He's built like a monster, isn't he? He looks physically developed enough for the Premier League. I think he is a little bit sloppy with some of his passing. I think
Yeah,
his sense of positioning needs a little bit of work because I'm not sure if he knows whether he's an 8 or a 6. Now I see him more as a sort of number 8, you know, but he sort of has the physical attributes to sort of be a Diarmi or a Kuyati. And how long have
yeah,
I been shouting about that's what we need?
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, maybe Magasso will turn out to be that, but yeah, that's exactly what we need. But listen, there's no harm in throwing him in or at least getting him training with the first team. And as for Fearon, I've not seen a lot of the under 21s, but he's not looked as outstanding as he did in his cameo in the preseason in the USA when he came on and Potts, Paqueta, and Fearon were all on the pitch against Man United in America at the same time, just popping the ball about. But you know what? Sometimes taking someone like Mark Noble always used to say, he didn't know he was capable of what he was doing until he went into the first team and got
yeah, yeah.
amongst better players and playing alongside that fella there will maybe get you on the ball a little bit. That's the good thing about Paqueta is he will give the younger players a go at the ball. Do you know what
He
I
will.
mean? It's not like he
He will.
doesn't
He
trust
trusts
them.
them.
He
Yeah, he
will
does.
give
You're
them it,
right.
and he'll show out to get it back again as well. So yeah, Fearon looks good. Kante looks like he's ready physically. I just like him maybe to get a bit more seasoned. But the only way to do that is get the experience, is get the
Yeah.
minutes, and just
He
to
couldn't do it. He
branch off.
couldn't do any worse without being funny. He couldn't do any worse than Irving and Souček did.
Yeah.
If that is what you feared, they won't do well. Well, the ones that are in there are not doing well anyway. So, what do you? And by the way, I'll say something now. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I see him do it. I think it was against Preston the other night. Actually, build up to one of the goals. Beautiful nutmeg from Fearon, and I think it was Bowen who said he keeps on nutmegging me in training.
Mm.
Once you watch out for it, and once you see him, he does do a lot of nutmegs. He's very, very good at it, Fearon. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Okay, do you know what I'll do? I'll probably put this video up Saturday morning, so it'll be up for the game. What are you thinking about Newcastle?
Look, I'm same as all of us. I think I've got apprehension about it just because of the form we're in, just because of the lineups we've seen under Nuno. I think it's going to be an uphill struggle. If you want me to be honest, I think we're going to lose. But this is the nature of West Hamitis, isn't it? Just when we all think it's hopeless over the years, we've popped up, and this is the kind of game we get a result in. So I still have this little bit of foolish optimism that maybe it'll come together. He's had a little bit more time with them. It is early days, but you know, when you go through the whole squad, you know, the goalkeeping position has not been sorted out the way we hoped it would be.
No.
The central defense is dreadful. This midfield he's playing is dreadful. We don't create anything. Paqueta's not creating anything, and the centre forward position is a joke. So it all points to getting beat. I would have maybe more faith if this was the away tie at St James's Park rather than playing at our stadium. Yeah, I think away gives us more chance, despite it being St James's Park, than the pressures of 2 wins in all of 2025 calendar year at home.
Sounds terrible. That sounds awful. I know it's the truth, but when
Mm.
you hear someone else say the words, it's terrible. So I read the other day, and it's not like I don't know it. I sit here doing West Ham videos. I know about West Ham. It's one win this season. Oh, it's awful. And I know it, but you sometimes just hear. I read it. Yeah, terrible. This is a tough question. It's a tough question. And take it as you want. Answer it as you want. Do you think he can do it, Nuno? Do you think he's the right man for the job? And I know it's a tough job. I know. But bear in mind, we'll factor all that in. The border's shit, right? But once we factored that in, do you think he can do it?
No, there is no right man for the job because everything's wrong. It's not that black and it's not that binary. It's not the right manager, the wrong manager, the right ball, the right recruitment, everybody's to blame. And I just think if you run any business like that, with that amount of ineptitude and all the wrong parts for all the wrong departments, I just think you're destined to fail. And I think he's destined to fail. And I think even if Klopp came in, I just think you're not being given the tools at your disposal to succeed.
Yeah.
You know, you and Gio often say, make your circumstances so that success is inevitable. I think we've got the reverse of this.
Yes,
I think they're making it. I think everything makes it so that it's an impossible job. It's almost like a poison chalice. It's almost like being the England manager. You know, it's always going to end in failure. You're never going to get. It's like being prime minister. You know what I mean? Like, you're always going to be in the firing line. And it's the same at West Ham at the moment. There's such a dark cloud around us. Okay, look, yeah, sure, he will organise. Sure, he seems like more of a leader than Potter, who didn't really seem to have a backbone to me.
Yes, he is. He's more of a leader, yeah.
But having said those two things I just said, the last two lineups he's picked have been absolutely ridiculous. And you want to talk about sitting there talking about organisation. Well, if he's responsible for sticking Lucas Paqueta on Joe Rodon at corners, that's not organising anything, is it? That's beyond a joke.
No. Do you think, and one of my worries was that, bearing in mind, I do think he went absolutely batty for those two games. Do you think the lack of a senior backroom staff is a problem? He's whatever his name was, Silver, I think his name was at Nottingham Forest, his old assistant manager. Just somebody that you know for a long time, who turns around and says, "No, what are you mad or what?" I just wonder if, are they just grateful to be in the position that have been promoted from the academy, that they're not really going to say anything. Realistically, they're there to learn, aren't they? So they're in no position to question somebody that's, you know, has been a successful football manager. I would just wonder if that's a little bit of a problem. I guess a lot. If we see it again, we've got a problem. I think that's what I would say. I don't know what you think about that. If we see it, I want to see change now.
Me too. But from what I understand, and of course it's hearsay, but from what I understand from X, the backroom staff did pull him up and say this is not going to suit Ollie Scars and that we don't think the composition of that midfield's going to work. And they did strongly put in their input. And the words coming out of X and the club was, but Nuno was quite insistent. So they are speaking up because they you know, surely if you're going to have these gentlemen from the academy, surely when you're talking about academy players, they know him far better than Nuno does. But then the trouble is with managers, it's a fine line again between backing yourself and standing by the courage of your convictions of being confident, which I'm sure we all want in a manager and a leader, but also being a stubborn git. And we were all shouting at Potter that 3/5 at the back doesn't work and he needs to change the shape. And for so many games, he persisted with it because it was his way. But then conversely, the Man United fans were shouting at Amorim saying, you need to change your system, you're not. And now he's got his players in and it's all started to click. But Amorim had a track record of success in Portugal. Yeah. Whereas if you look back at Nuno, I think he's had no real success, at least not in the Premier League, has he? I mean, he took Wolves into. I mentioned this elsewhere. He took Wolves into Europe. Yes, he did. But now don't forget that the European places dropped down to as low as 8 if one of the big 6 win a cup, right? So 3 get relegated. At least 7. That means that half the league now qualify for Europe. So as good as it is that the same achievement it was when it used to be first place, second place?
No, of course. But that was my argument with Moyes when Moyes used to say West Ham have never done 3 seasons in a row.
The parameters are different.
But to be fair, there was a point where there was only 2 league places where you could get it. So yeah.
That's changed, as well as if it wasn't for his relationship with Jorge, George, whatever you prefer, Mendes, he never would have had players like Mourinho, Neto, Ruben Neves, Raul Patricio. Those players would never have gone to Wolves. So he had cheat code in that respect. You know, Forest, I think he did well for 2/3 of a season. And then, like I said before, there's a shelf life to that kind of football. We know that with our own Moyes. We know he brought in Paqueta and Aguerd to try to change into a more progressive style. And then when that couldn't work, he had to revert back to what he knew. And then we had a horrendous 18 months of results that the media love to conveniently forget about.
That's it, isn't it? Yeah.
And it was abject failure, really, at Spurs. And I don't know much about Saudi. But coming back to your question about the backroom staff, it does seem very odd to me that someone who's had a right-hand man around him career long is now deciding to venture on his own. So I'll question what you and Gio have both questioned on Patreon, and that is this that he wanted to do it on his own and fly solo, or is it that he's not been backed in terms of getting his team in there? I believe now he's got a goalkeeper coach finally that he's from Forest, hasn't he?
He has. I don't. The trouble is, I've never believed both things. I don't believe West Ham don't spend money. I just think we spend it badly.
No.
Yeah. I have this argument every single season. When people say it's typical West Ham, we won't spend any money this transfer window. I can't remember a transfer window when we didn't spend money. We waste money. That's what we do. Look at the centre backs are a prime example. We waste money. So I don't believe for a second that the board have said you can't have a backroom team. I don't believe that for a second, right? Not at all. I think we're terrible at this stuff. Look at compensation for McCauley. We always do it. What we do is we keep on getting the wrong managers and we give them their backroom team. It's just, if we're that skimp, we're in trouble. I don't think we are. I think we'll find money in January. I think the money will either be put in by the board, which they'll have to do, or they'll use their credit cards. Yeah. But I think that's the case. I think if Nuno, if we really wanted to, we've even seen it when Potter came in. They wanted to give Potter 6 months. By the time they'd finished, Potter had said, no, I want a longer contract. I want me mate in. You're going to have to get him from Chelsea. I want all my coaching staff, by the way, who are all brought in by the same agent, right? The agent who had the biggest influence on West Ham last season wasn't the one everyone was moaning about, funny enough.
No.
So they will fold. The board will fold. And I just believe they were desperate for Nuno at the time. And I think if Nuno had said, you've got to go and get me him, and him as my backroom team, I think the club would have said yes. So I don't believe it's that. I do wonder if he has decided just to go it on his own. But I am still very... I'm never anyone with all this. You know, when people say, oh, you know, in such and such we trust. I've never been one to do that. I don't... It'll take me a long time. Particularly someone I don't know and I've got no evidence for. Think, oh yeah, no, I trust him. I don't know. I've got the first clue. I've got a couple of hunches. I sort of know a little bit. I'm certainly not going to say Nuno I trust. So I'm open to be convinced by any of it. I hope he's the right guy, and I just hope. I'm just like anyone else. I'm trying to see reason. I'm trying to see common sense why he would pick the team he picked in the last couple of games. And the only thing I can think is, because I think we have like such a backbone with the players, it's such a disgrace, the lack of effort that some of them have been put in. And I think they've been lucky because the narrative and some of that, you know, is down to YouTube channels like this have been focused so much on the ownership and the managers that actually the players have sort of got away with it a bit, but their performances have been disgusting, actually, a lot of them. There's no way that they deserve millionaire status the way they're playing, and particularly when people fork out so much of their hard-earned money to go and follow the team and watch the team and buy things from the club shop and do everything that they do. So the only thing I can think of when I'm looking at our Porter playing stuff is maybe, just maybe, Nuno thought, okay, that might not be my best team, it might not be my fastest team, but they will give 100%. Maybe it was that. That's all I can give him. Now, it turns out I don't think some of them didn't. And in fact, one of the biggest ones I thought didn't and won't is Todibo. Now, the thing I would say about Todibo is because Mavropanos was injured, I think Mavropanos would have been back in, but I think the Mavropanos injury for the second game, I think that might have been it. So that's the only thing I can do. But I wouldn't pin me colours to that. I just, the only reason I can offer that he might have done the stupid stuff that he did was because of that. But now he's got enough data to know that hasn't worked. Don't want to see the composition in the midfield again. And he's going to need to do something else in defence. He's not an old player, Todibo, but he's also not young enough that he's going to be able to coach and mould him into a totally different player. He is the player that he is, and I can understand how he would do well for a possession-based team.
Slower, a league at a slower pace, I think, would suit him.
Yeah,
More
absolutely.
laid back.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, how do you think we're gonna? So you think we're gonna lose? What about? Yeah, tell us. Yeah. Just tell us how you think the next 2 or 3 games look. Then, obviously, you'll do more videos before then, but just is it complete doom and gloom? Or you think we have no chance at all?
My West Ham heart always wants to believe we've got a chance, and that just when traditionally we've been the team that will go and win at Man United and then lose to Wrexham in the cup or something. You know what I mean? I've seen it many a time. So look, you've always got, to use a boxing analogy as we do at times, you've got a puncher's chance, haven't you? But I must confess though, looking at Newcastle and their team and their pace, the pace on the flanks, particularly people like Gordon and so on. I can see that causing us real issues. I haven't had a chance to watch your build up, your build up show.
We've recorded it. We've published it. We haven't published it yet, so you won't have seen it. What score do you think I went for?
I think you wanted to be optimistic, but I think the evidence before you, I don't see us scoring unless it's a bit of individual magic from someone like Bowen. I think you went for a 3-0 defeat. Is what I think.
Did. I actually did. It's exactly what I went for. But go on. Tell us your. What do you?
Yeah, and that's along the lines I'm thinking, because I think we're very fragile at the back. I think we've still got a number 2 in goal, a career number 2. But then a Manson has come in.
You don't mean a poo. You mean a reserve. Yeah.
Well, if the cap fits, mate. To be honest with you. At his near post. Look, to rattle through my team, I think I'd go for Areola because of lack of credible options. I think I'd go Wan-Bissaka on the right. I think I'd go Walker-Peters on the left because I think Diouf needs a little break. I don't mean it in a nasty way to drop him. I think he has defensive frailties which will develop because he's 20 and it will take time. But I think we need a bit of stability, and Walker-Peters is much more competent playing on the left, or you could even have it the other way around if you want, but I'd go for Wan-Bissaka at right back. I'd go for Walker-Peters at left back just to try to solidify that defense. You're not really losing Diouf's attacking threat because although he can cross a ball, he doesn't really beat a man. And aside from the great goal against Forest where Callum Wilson did that beautiful striker's movement and Diouf crossed it, we haven't really seen him putting it on Fulkrug's head or anyone else's head game in, game out. And in the last match, we sort of played him as a left midfielder with the freedom to go and create and put crosses in. And I don't really think that really bared fruit. So I'd go for those 2 fullbacks. I don't want to see Kilman, but we will see him. I think we've been robbed with him. I don't want to see Tadibo, but we will see him. I would rather go. I think I would see what Igor's like in training, and maybe this is the time to bring him in just for a shake-up. I think having looked at Magassa, statistically, not with the eye test, I've not watched him for Monaco. He played more at centre-back than he did defensive midfield. So I might even consider him as an option. I might even consider Souček as a centre-back. I don't believe he works as a centre-forward, which has been an argument, but we'll talk about that another day. I would change things up as centre-back. Maybe Magassa and Igor. And then going into the midfield, I think I would be dropping this fella for this game. He's not producing for me, although he weren't as bad against Leeds. The whole team didn't really thrive, and he doesn't create anything. So I think I would go with a midfield of Fernandez. Potts needs to come in. And if you're not playing Magassa at centre-back, then he needs to go in the midfield. Then you've got to have Bowen in his best position. And Somerville is always bright and we like him, but 1 assist and 1 goal. The evidence is he doesn't, produce. So, we're all waiting for that to happen, but he's going to have to go on the left because of lack of options. And it has to be Callum Wilson up front just because he's the only one that's actually got strikers movement and will occupy defenders, stretch defenses. But when you look across that, that selection is all down to inferior options.
Yeah. And they are better than us in every department. midfield, attack, and defence. They are just better than us, Newcastle. So yes, which is hence the reason I went for that. Listen, I dropped Diouf. I did my lineup earlier in the preview. I dropped Diouf as well. In fact, I dropped Somerville as well. So and both the midfielders. Look, I'd be worried for my own job as much as anything else. I think if I was in charge, and I'd be dropping people who didn't give everything. I'm not suggesting Somerville doesn't give everything. By the way, that wasn't the case. I just don't think he's particularly. I think he's a little bit lightweight at the moment. Don't think he's particularly effective, and I just he's far from the worst culprit. By the way, far from the worst culprit. So yeah, it's going to be tough, mate. It's tough.
So look ahead to Burnley, because you asked me about that.
Yeah,
I see that midfield outplaying ours. I see them out fighting us. So I don't mean to be doing it. I can only call it as I see it, folks. But I don't feel particularly infused about it. Let's hope I'm wrong. Let's hope it all clicks and we've got something to shout about.
Well, you couldn't possibly have any evidence looking at this season to suggest that West Ham have a better midfield than Burnley.
No,
there's nothing. There's no evidence to support that. So, and this is the ridiculous position that West Ham have been left in. Right, I'm going to wrap that up now. Thanks for joining us, mate.
May I mention the shows?
You bloody may. I wish. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Please do. This is really important.
Right, so folks, listen, appreciate the support as always and the kindness I get in the comments. If anybody wants to see me in a different professional capacity, I'm coming over to the UK. I'm doing some tour dates. As some of you know, I'm a soul and Motown singer, soul, Motown, reggae, ska, that kind of thing. I've got dates up in Scotland, but I don't know if many of your watchers are going to be based up there, Edinburgh and Glasgow. Then I'm sort of down in the Midlands in Birmingham, Friday the 12th of December. There's a few tickets left for the Birmingham show. But the ones that are sort of closer to home, one stop away from London Stadium at Loughton, RBL, the Saturday is sold out. But Friday the 5th of December, I'm going to be doing a show there. It's a beautiful venue, music venue. It's a great night out, somewhere to bring the missus maybe. The ticket,
your own missus. Don't bring anyone else's missus.
Oh no, it's swingers night. So all the keys go in the bowl. Yeah. No, listen, you get a full Christmas dinner with it. So the price of the ticket is £25, but that's the show and a meal, turkey and all the trimmings. Food's delicious. Great night, soul and Motown. Few beers. Be nice to get together and put some faces to the names that I see coming up and subscribers, and just have an early Christmas beer if anyone fancies it.
Where do they find this?
So you can either go onto my Facebook page, which is at Michael Levy Jr. Soul Singer, or you can go on www.ticketsource. I should have known this. I think it's Michael Levy Jr. events, but I'm sure Gonzo will be kind enough to put a link in for me.
Send it on WhatsApp right now, mate.
Yeah. And I'll stick it in the comments if anyone's interested.
Yeah. Do that, and we'll pin your comments at the top. Listen, he's flying over. You're not rowing, are you? You're flying.
Thinking of swimming.
He's swimming over from Tenerife, so it's a big deal. He's come over for Christmas. Even bought his children coats to come over to England. So it's a big deal for him. I'd love to get all these shows packed out. So be really good. And he's really, really good at singing as well, which sort of helps when you're a singer. So yeah, he'll be doing the singing. He won't be cooking your turkey. I don't know if he's any good at you. Can you cook a turkey?
I could cook a hell of a turkey, but I'll do the cooking in an hour.
Talented.
And the bonus about coming to do the show in England is I can order my free beers from Beer 52 to be sent to me.
You can order your free beers from Beer 52. But you can't drink any that night. It's not good for the old voice drinking beer before you go on to sing, is it?
I will be rat-arsed along with the rest of you.
No, you won't.
I will, yeah. I'll sing better.
Will ya?
Yeah, I'll loosen up. I'll drink on stage. I have a Jack Daniels or whatever.
Do you really?
Yeah, if I go on sober, I feel a little bit awkward and stiff. If I have a couple of drinks, not drunk, but if I have a couple of drinks, I have a bit more bravado, a bit more banter. I'm funnier. I hit better notes. I'm sort of like the George Best of the singing world.
Where did it all go wrong? Yeah. Oh, you know that one, don't you?
Yeah.
You know that story?
Yeah, about I wasted the rest, that one.
Well, no, it's somebody found George Best in a hotel room with a bag of cash in bed for a page 3 model, and I think that's something like, "Oh, George, he wasted it." Where did it all go wrong, George?
Yeah, I thought you were going to say when they asked him where's your money gone, and he said, "I spent most of it on hookers, the rest of it on beer, and I wasted the rest."
That's a good one. And which is nothing like, by the way, an evening with Michael Levy Jr. in Loughton, or anywhere else, Edinburgh or the Birmingham one. How's tickets going for the Birmingham one?
Birmingham one is 3/4 sold. Glasgow's sold out. Edinburgh's sold out. In fact, we may be adding extra dates to Edinburgh and Glasgow.
What's your most popular song?
Oh, people ask me a lot for. I mean, it's not what I'd like to. I'd like to sing like Marvin Gaye's my idol, so like Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder, Al Green, that kind of music. But I get asked a lot for a song that's quite niche. It's Billy Ocean, and it's a song called "Red Light Spells Danger."
Who? I never really heard of that.
So people, you'll know, like when the going gets tough, Caribbean Queen, Love Really Hurts Without You. Yeah, you'll know that one. But there's a song, a belting song by Billy Ocean. There's a bit of a northern soul.
How are you telling me that most people request this song?
I'm telling you, it's my most requested song.
It's called
that Cry to Me by Solomon Burke. Don't you feel like crying? That one. That's not my singing voice, by the way.
No.
And I get asked for The Love I Lost a lot. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. But listen, I sing more modern stuff. I sing reggae, Bob Marley, all kind of things. But the crowds that come to the soul venues, they're real soulies. So they ask me for some really obscure stuff. And I like to be able to do it. They say, like, sing me Walk Away From Love by David Ruffin, which was the B-side to My Girl. Oh, no, I Wish It Would Rain was the B-side to My Girl. So everyone knows the really famous ones. And I like to be able to go, bosh, do the request.
Change it up when you're at different venues.
Absolutely. I've never sung the same show twice anywhere. I stopped counting my repertoire when I got to 20,000 songs, and I stopped counting 10 years ago. And if someone gives me a request and I don't know it, I'm a bit OCD. I'll take it. I'll go home and learn it so I can sing it the next day.
Wow.
It's my job.
Change up the accent of it when you're in Birmingham. Oh, the Lord, it was all who shot the sheriff. Did you do that?
Yeah, I do that, yeah. I did do a video a couple of years ago when I was there from the hotel saying, yeah, I'm all right, I've only been in Plum for the day. Already direct. You know, I started doing that on the thing as a promotional video.
Yeah.
It was fun. I wore my Peaky Blinders cap for that show.
Good. Glad to hear it. All right. Thanks for joining us, mate. Enjoyed that. Lovely chat. Nice little 10-minute video. There you go. That's what happens, isn't it?
Sorry, everyone.
Don't forget your beers. Don't forget to check out, if you can't get to the Loughton ones, maybe you're in Edinburgh, maybe you're in Birmingham, and you want to do that special version of Caribbean Queen done in the Brummie accent, then there you go. That's what you're going to, and I've even forgotten the other Billy Ocean song already. There you go. That's what happens. Thanks
Tell me if
us.
you know Red Light Spells Danger in the comments. Tell me if anyone knows that song.
I don't know the song. No, anyway, there you go. Thanks, mate. I'll catch you later. Everybody, well, I guess we will see you on the build-up to Sunday's treacherous game.